The first sentence of the letter from the Universal House of Justice in 1977 to the Baha'i world stated that the cornerstone of all Baha'i activities is to teach the faith. In the words of Baha'u'llah, the most meritorious of all acts in the sight of God is the act of teaching. In the words of Abdu'l-Baha, out of all the gift of God, the greatest is the gift of teaching. In the words of Shoghi Effendi, the paramount duty of all believers is to teach the faith. With all these lavish statements in our writings about teachings, why we are still not teaching? Shoghi Effendi tells us the reason why we are not teaching is because we look at our frailty. When we look at our frailty, we feel despondent, we feel inadequate, we feel discouraged, and apathy starts to set in, and we become apathetic. Numerous times in our writings, they are telling us not to look at our shortcomings, not to look at our frailty, not to look at our weaknesses, but put our whole trust in God. I'll tell you the story of Abdu'l-Baha's traveling to the Dominion of Canada. It is a true story written by Abdu'l-Baha himself. You can find it in his tablets of the Divine Plan. He said before his departure, he was warned by many souls not to travel to Montreal, saying the majority of the inhabitants are Catholics, and they are in the utmost fanaticism, that they are submerged in the sea of imitation, and they have not the capability to hearken to the call of the kingdom of God. And the veil of bigotry has so covered the eyes that they have deprived themselves of beholding the sight of the signs of the most great guidance. And the dogmas has taken possession of the hearts entirely, leaving no trace of reality. They asserted that should the sun of reality shines in perfect splendor throughout that dominion, the dark, impenetrable cloud of superstition has so enveloped the horizon that it would be entirely impossible for anyone to behold its rays. These are very powerful warnings, sorts of warnings that put you off from going to Montreal. But let's hear what Abdu'l-Baha said about these words. He said these words have no effect on the resolution of Abdu'l-Baha. He, trusting in God, turned his face towards Montreal, and when entering that city, he observed all doors opened. He found souls are in the utmost receptivities, and the ideal power of the kingdom, removing all obstacles and obstructions. I like to mention 3 great believers that arose from that area: William Sutherland Maxwell, May Maxwell, mother and father of Ruhia Khanum, companion of Shoghi Effendi. All 3 of them were elevated to the station of hand of the cause of God. So not to look at our frailty, not to look at our shortcomings, not to look at our weaknesses, but put our whole trust in God and march forward and proclaim this healing message of Baha'u'llah to all over the world. There is a phrase that from Abdu'l-Baha that the friends quite often use as an excuse of why they are not teaching. The phrase is, Abdu'l-Baha said that we must teach with wisdom. That is very true. But let me tell you, this is only part of the sentence. And I'm asking you to please read the whole sentence so that you totally understand what Abdu'l-Baha meant. Whether you like it or not, I'm going to tell you the whole sentence. He said, even so, these activities, he's referring to teachings here, must be tempered with wisdom, but not the wisdom that requireth one to be silent and forgetful of such an obligation, but rather the one that requireth one to display divine tolerance, love, patience, goodly characters, and holy deeds. Full stop. If anything, it is the open proclamation of the faith that Abdu'l-Baha exhausted his advice to us to do. And this really shown by these words of Abdu'l-Baha, which I'm going to paraphrase. He said, if their task, referring to all of us Baha'is, is confined only to good conduct and advice, nothing will be accomplished. They must speak out, expound the truths, set forth clear arguments, and draw irrefutable conclusions, establishing the truth of the manifestation of the Son of Reality. The proclamation of this faith now rests on our lips. We must unzip our lips and speak out. Thank you, and I wish you well. Whaftaila wa manuela whaafonfo mai malawa sau Samoa soifua.